Democratic State Senator Eva Birch of Mesa made headlines last month when she told fellow lawmakers in a floor speech that she was going to get an abortion because a pregnancy was no longer viable. The first-term lawmaker has criticized Arizona restrictions as being out of touch and has pushed for legislation that would create a constitutional right to abortion in the state. Earlier today, we spoke to Senator Birch about today's Supreme Court ruling. Senator Eva Birch, thank you so much for joining us on Arizona Horizon. It's good to have you here. This is a very big day. Your thoughts on today's ruling?
Well, I have to be honest with you, I was shocked. I was just so surprised that this is where we went with this decision. I think that for a lot of us, we were anticipating that this would not go through in this way. And so I am first and foremost shocked, but I'm also just so upset. I am heartbroken, but I'm also outraged by this decision and by the reality of what the implications could be for people in Arizona.
And speaking of implications for you, you made national headlines when you announced that you were planning on having an abortion because of a problem pregnancy. When I say national headlines, I mean international headlines on that. How does this affect your plans?
So this has a direct effect on patients who are like me. And this happened, again, 2 years ago, where I had a similar situation where I had a pregnancy, a wanted pregnancy that failed, and where I had an abortion scheduled. I had that procedure, and 2 weeks later, in the wake of the Roe decision, abortion clinics in Arizona closed down all over the state. And we're looking at the possibility of that happening again.
Yeah, you've said that this isn't what the people of Arizona want. If it's not what the people of Arizona want, how did it happen?
Well, I think it's pretty obvious that we have had a legislature in Arizona and that we have had extremist politicians who have been after this type of ruling for decades. So this has been literally decades in the making, where we have had extremist politicians who every anti-abortion bill that comes by their desk gets signed, and every piece of legislation that could make abortion less accessible to the people of Arizona gets supported. And I think that this has just been sort of a snowball of a series of events that has led us to this where we are today.
As far as the court's ruling today, some of the points that were made, in the decision that lawmakers never actually repealed that 1864 law. That's one of the reasons the court decided what it did today. Did they have a point in doing that?
Well, what I will say is that it's not that there wasn't any legislation available for us to be able to vote on. And we had Rep. Stone-Hamilton's bill that wouldn't even get a hearing in a committee that would have repealed this law. And this is, again, something that happened 2 years ago. They've had all of this time to repeal that law. Do I think that that justifies the court's decision? Absolutely not. I don't think so at all. I think that this, again, is clearly unconstitutional. I know that the Attorney General feels the same way. And so I'm anticipating that there's going to, again, be a battle moving forward.
Yeah, and I want to get to that battle in a second here. But as far as the court today ruling that, again, the lawmakers, legislature, you guys, did not create a right to abortion. And that is why the court had to decide what you're saying that's not justification. But they're looking at statute here, but you're saying it needs to go further?
I can't even believe that we're dignifying the question, to be honest with you, about whether or not we should take a pre-statehood ban and say that that somehow supersedes other legislation that has happened. I mean, we're talking about a ban that was drafted when women didn't have the right to vote. Do I think that there's an excuse for upholding that type of legislation? No.
You've talked to Republicans, I'm sure, at the Capitol. How do they feel about this?
Well, I think that we are going to see a lot of mental gymnastics, and we're going to see a lot of Republican politicians who are backtracking on statements and votes that they have made previously. I have not had conversations directly since this decision came down because, again, this is very, very recently, just in recent hours here. But I'm anticipating that I'm going to have some Republicans reaching out to me. I hope that that will happen. But this has been happening again for years, and the opportunities have been there and have been ignored.
What do you want to see as far as a legislature passing something with the understanding that you can only go so far with Republican majority?
Right. Well, I think that we need to see a clean repeal of this pre-statehood ban that's not attached to anything else. I think that we just need to see a repeal in the short term. I also think that what we need to see is Republicans allowing Democrats, who, again, for many years have been at the forefront of trying to fight to make sure that these rights are being upheld for individuals, lead the conversation a little bit. If we are just going to see Republicans putting forward legislation, then it's not going to be really a fair representation.
As far as, again, compromise, is there compromise to be found with Democrats and Republicans on doing something to address this?
I don't know, because again, the Republicans control the conversation. So if they want to have conversations with us about what needs to be done, I'm open to those conversations. But I don't know what that would look like. And Democrats, for years, have had no say in what that's going to look like. So I'm waiting for their response.
And as far as you, how are you doing? I mean, you've gone through a lot of stress. You made an announcement on something very personal and very stressful, very emotional. You went through that. Now you're going through this. How you doing?
Well, I'm going to tell you that I have had such an overwhelming response from people just reaching out to me from all over the country and honestly from all over the world, people telling me their own stories, people telling me their own frustrations. And my primary emotion right now, the feeling that I have more than anything else, is gratitude. I'm so grateful that I get to be able to have opportunities to make a difference and to be able to pull people into the conversation. I think so many people are sitting at home wishing that they could be heard, wishing that they could say something, wishing that they could do something, and I get to do it.
Last question real quickly. Did that reaction surprise you?
No. The only surprise that I had was how far-reaching it was, and all I plan to do now is to continue to cast a wide net and try to pull more people into the conversation and really maximize the impact as much as I possibly can.
Senator Eva Birch, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.